This is Tech Kalam by Netpublik. I'm Nur Kodri with my co-host.
Vishnu K. Mahmud, good eye.
It's not just the hottest, but the craziest tech updates from around the world. Make sure you stay till the end of the video because our main discussion in this video is very interesting about Gen Z struggles, how they enter a workforce that is being rewritten by algorithm. From the crazy tech world, we have some news bites. First, the data center being a target from a war. Second, the brutal reality of corporate restructuring. Third, most talk about AI video generated app goes global. And the last, why your favorite AI might just be a yes man. Let's hit the news bite before we go into the main topic. The first news bite, data center as the new frontline. Iran has launched targeted strikes against Amazon data centers in what military analysts are calling a kinetic digital hybrid strategy. This is the second strike from Iran to the data center in the Middle East, yeah, Fish, yeah?
Yep.
And last week they Iran uh, strike a missile to this Amazon data center in Bahrain. But
Yeah.
uh, we see that Iran is not only targeting Amazon, they also possibly, because they mentioned another data center as well from Google's, Microsoft, Palantir, IBM, Nvidia, and Oracle. But first, let's talk about why the data centers fish before we go to the impact to the region.
So, this is like what, week 5 of the US Israeli Iran conflict. And surprisingly, it's not over yet. The amount of money and effort that all sides are putting into this conflict is a lot, but Iran is doing is actually they're punching above their weight class basically. So they're targeting anything that they can reach that supports the conflict. So it's not surprising that this is happening. However, it does make it very, very interesting that if you're a business, you have to make sure that your data centers, your servers, offices? Do you have disaster recovery plans? Do you have emergency plans? Do you have work from home plans? How can you ensure business continuity uh, f- uh, in case of a conflict? Because in most cases, insurance does not cover acts of war, so we have to be careful when running business wherever you are.
So Iran is like striking some damage to the US side with less cost to compare with the US. Yeah.
Well, reportedly, their drones cost about $20,000, $30,000 a piece, while the munitions to tackle those drones can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars on the U.S. side. So it is a pretty unbalanced conflict in terms of costs. So yeah, I mean, in terms of tech, making sure that your assets and your servers and your data are spread out this is a very important lesson for that. You cannot have a single vendor or a single point of failure in cases like this.
Yeah, aside of the missiles and also the drone, Iran also launched mem wars. That's quite interesting. But
Yeah,
you see that?
yeah. I mean, it's social media has basically made it very easy for people to communicate. It's made it very easy for disinformation, misinformation. There's a lot of censorship on all sides. We have no idea how much there's like the amount of damage, the amount of casualties. It's like there's literally a black hole of information. So we have no idea what's true. So
And also the impact for this region, especially in Southeast Asia, we're talking about Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam. It's not only about the fuel hikes, but also digital casualties. So they are also planning building up the data centers in this region as well.
So this conflict basically highlights the importance of having a data continuity plan. That you have to make sure that your data, your servers, your assets, your personnel are are well taken care of, are scattered, are not in one place for one source of failure. So as the region begins to build up their massive data centers, businesses has to make sure that it's spread out, that their information, data, people can continue to do business even if one of their servers or data centers go down. So reliance on a single global provider is not the option anymore. You have to have more than two at the very least.
Okay, let's get to the bite two. Oracle Purge. Oracle has announced the layoff of 30,000 employees with an email at 6 a.m. in the morning. One the reason is a massive shift in capital expenditure. The company is diverting billions away from human payroll and directly into AI infrastructure and high-end GPUs.
So this is actually rather sad news. I mean, 30,000 people were laid off in like one go by email, and they're basically immediately locked out practically immediately after that. I mean, Oracle's revenue last year was a lot. I think it was like 57.4 billion last
Yeah,
year.
they should have
Yeah.
no problem to
Yeah.
make the people stay there.
Yeah, like this would probably save them about like what 8 billion in terms of human resources costs, but they want to focus more on AI investment looking forward. So it's difficult. I mean, like we don't see their numbers and we don't know what their plans are, but what we do know, this is 30,000 people that's affected. And this will basically make people distrust big tech or companies that do massive layoffs, even if they want to like hire new people. Do you really want to work for a company that will just basically toss you out because they want to focus on future investments or they want to make their quarterly earnings? It does break the social contract between employer and employee. I mean, Oracle technically can afford it, but they do have plans for expanding their AI. But I think the big question that no one is asking: do you really need to speed up investment on AI? Do you really need to become like the first or second person to create the AI infrastructure? When, as we all know, the pioneers are usually the one that are that don't last long. They're the ones that lead the way, and it's usually the second or third or fourth people, a la Apple. They would come in, they take all the learnings, and then they expand and enhance the products and services. So I'm not sure if this is a good idea, but then what do I know?
But aside of the data infrastructure expands, I started to see from this Oracle's eye, yeah, because this might be a new way of managing the organizations. Yeah. So in the future, or maybe in not so distant future, the organization will be solely. So maybe they will need like maybe just need the half of the corporation right now, and also they might adding up some people by the project. So maybe hiring someone for 6 months, a years, and then when they're moving to the another project, they will hire another contractual employees. So this way, it will make the workforce different, like what you know, like as a fractional employees or manager.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So is the future about fractional employees? Is the future about having part-time senior managers, senior directors? They come in for a few days, they do the work, and then that's it. You don't have to pay full-time wages. You don't have to pay for healthcare, health insurance, and all that. Is that the future for employment? I'm not sure. I mean, my question is this the future of big businesses? Because like right now we have a lot of businesses around the world, like the Walmarts and the Apples and the Googles, because there's a lot of centralization that's happening right now. There's a lot of services and products that can be sent from a centralized area, from like a major tech company, a major supermarket or department store, like a Walmart. They're very very big and they expand. Is there a business case now where maybe it centralizes too much and they got too big and they can't really manage their own people well because let's face it, during COVID, everybody overhired. Everybody hired as many people as they can so their competitors won't get them. And it turns out that in some cases, having more people in your department is a source of power, which some people after they got laid off, they began sharing that, you know what, my team had so many people in our department and we were considered to be the most powerful in the whole company. And that's what it's basically a power play for directors to say, hey, I need more budget, I need more people, et cetera, et cetera. So now the question is, are companies too big to manage that now they're like laying off 30,000 people, 10,000 people in one go? Like Block a few weeks ago, they laid off 4,000 people in one go. So is there a business opportunity for smaller companies? Remember, before there was the centralized supermarket, there was the baker, the butcher, the candlestick maker. Is
Yes.
that the time now where people can start creating those small businesses in each of their neighborhoods, in each of their small cities, and pick up the slack where the big businesses are slowly either um, cutting down or because they basically have the monopoly, they can now do whatever they want. Is that now the opportunity now?
Yes, I believe there is an opportunity for the smaller business
Yeah, I
to
mean,
compare with the giant. Yeah.
look at what's happening with like in the U.S. in Uber, DoorDash, and all that. Because the price of gasoline is going up, I've been reading reports that a lot of those drivers they do not want to pick up some orders because the distance traveled, the gasoline that they need to use, plus all the other expenses that's on them, not on the company, it's on them with their own private cars.
Yeah.
They're refusing to pick it up because it's just too expensive for them to run. And the centralized companies who have the software to help manage it, they're doing pretty well, but I think at this point they're going to have to start to either to raise prices and give more to the drivers so the drivers can cover all these expenses, because basically all the competitors are gone, more or less. The taxi drivers in New York, they're practically gone. The cost of a taxi medallion or the permit to have a taxi cab went down from like $1 million down to much lower. So now that they're a monopoly, the not the extra cost of running the car uh, by their partners, their drivers, is now so high that it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do? You
Okay.
have to share more uh, of the profit, the revenue, with your partners, because at the end of the day this is a partnership, and you will only succeed if everybody else succeeds, and you have to reestablish that social contract.
Yeah. Somehow the smaller companies might see these opportunities and will close the cost gaps. Yeah.
Yeah, so now there's an opportunity right now with AI. It is relatively easy to recreate all those apps, all those um, ride hailing apps, those delivery apps, food apps. You could create an app just for your neighborhood or your uh, small townships, small city, and just recreate all of the services or some of the services, and then you can distribute the revenue and the profit to partner. Sorry, that you can then distribute the revenue or and the profits to the partner drivers who can then manage the whole service well. Because doing this as a small company, at the risk of sounding like a lifestyle business, you don't have to worry about VC capital or their requirements. You don't have to worry about debt. You start to grow ever so slowly but smartly. And instead of going all in on maximum growth, you just grow within your neighborhood, within your township, and you get the partners, and everybody can work as a proper collective. It's still capitalism, and it'll still work.
Let's get to the Byte 3. SeeDance goes global. ByteDance has rolled out SeeDance worldwide through Higgsfield AI. It's a mandatory watermarking system for intellectual property, ensuring that any content generated or modified within their ecosystem is tracked and tagged with ownership data. This is quite interesting. Finally, SeeDance goes global, not just around China, and also the mandatory watermarking. It's very interesting.
I'm not sure if everybody can access it yet. I think there may be some country restrictions. The SeeDance model is amazing. It's very very well made. It does, however, cause some concerns about having a Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt fight scene like they did like a few weeks back, as an example, which was probably not a good idea. But it does show how good the model is. But it does raise the copyright infringement and deepfake issues. For and I think it's like a double-edged sword. It's a tool. It's a great tool. So instead of going to Rome in the 5th century and have a major sword fight, you can do it in front of a green screen. Put the background in from AI, but you still have actors, you still have acting, you still have dialogue. That would be good as a tool. But if you were to just recreate the whole thing using AI, using a computer, takes a lot of processing power, it takes a lot of time, and God knows if the iteration is correct. So if that doesn't work, you have to do it again. So yeah, I mean, like I think it's a great tool, but we shouldn't just like replace things because if you're a director, if you're a storyteller, you want to tell your story properly. Regular people who just wants to play with it, they can play with it. Yeah, fine, no problem. But again, you have to be careful of how you make it and how you share it.
Yeah, but somehow the SeeDance just cannot replicate Will Smith till right now. Why Will
Um,
Smith is always be the what the standard for the AI generated video
Will
from
Smith
from
eating,
his eating spaghetti to the
yeah,
Hancock
Will Smith eating spaghetti back then to like I think it was like last month there was a Hancock versus
Homelander.
Homelander. Yeah, from the boys. That was amazing. And then the ending had Loki and the Joker and all that. Um, it looks great. It's funny. Major copyright issues, a lot of lawsuits potential to happen. But yeah, I mean, like I think for like if you're a storyteller or if you're a movie maker, if you want to make a film, it's now more accessible. Now, of course, that basically means you need to get a subscription from SeeDance. You need to have the tools, and it's the same thing like with all AI providers. If there's nobody else and it becomes a monopoly, will they raise prices? And then all the stuff that you've made in your business model that uses their applications, suddenly the price goes up, you have nowhere to go. So it's always good to have backups of backups, open source models, your own servers, all that kind of stuff. It's always good to have that in consideration.
And for the creators around the world, some from Indonesia. I heard that Indonesia has so many content creators based using AI generated video. By using CDNs, they can create quite more crazy things.
Yep.
Yeah, and then they can get maybe some amount of money from the YouTube.
Monetization, yeah, but then again, remember if you're posting it on like a TikTok or an Instagram, or Facebook or YouTube, those companies have to follow copyright law in the United States, in other countries, and they can be taken down, and then you could get a copyright strike. So again, you have to be very careful. It's always good to make your own IP, your own intellectual
Yeah,
property, your own story, your own characters, and that'll be
yeah,
yours. That'll be
because it's
yours.
already possible right now, and this
Yep.
is already made it easy. So there is no excuse, I think, for the creators to be like the mini movie makers
But
and
it
try to get
just
the story, not just like a fighting scene.
Yeah, but it just takes time to get the traffic, the traction, the audience, the money. It takes time for that. So, like, it's so easy to make just a quick video. Sorry. It's so easy to make a quick video of Superman and put it up there because everybody knows who Superman is, right?
Yeah,
But, like, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
trying to make your own character,
and
it's going
introducing
to
the
take
new
time.
character. Who is this, right?
Yeah. But it's
Yeah,
doable.
but still
It's doable.
possible. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely doable.
Let's get to the bite four. Sycophantic AI, the yes man problem. A new MIT research has confirmed what many suspected. ChatGPT and other large language models are psychopathic. The models tend to agree with the user's stated opinion, even if it's actually wrong, just to provide a pleasing response. So, If you prompt to an AI, you just stole a car, the AI will agree with you and find a way out for you.
So this is the thing. Um, there. So
That's amazing idea, Fish. Oh, you haven't seen it yet. You haven't seen
yeah.
it yet.
So basically, it's mathematically proven that the AI would always try to agree. They want to please you. They want to answer your questions, even though they don't know. They'll say they do know with a lot of confidence. And if you don't question it, they can get away with it, basically. But now, I also read that there was this other report where somebody was asking for advice using an AI. Now, the difference is this person is Indonesian and he asked for advice, had a family issue, blah, blah, blah. But the answer for that advice was, you know what? Uh, I agree with you. You have a great point of view. If your family doesn't support you, you should just let it go and just leave them. Now, that is actually a very individualistic Western point of view, where in Asia, we tend to be a little bit more community centric, a lot more family centric. And you and we as the younger generation must always support the elder generation. So an answer like that, when this user saw it, he said, "That's weird because it's a very westernized point of view." So it's the same thing here. So having this AI basically support all of your point of views, giving answers that may or may not be in line with your culture, your actual thought process, your feelings, that can be difficult to say the least. I mean, it basically promotes homogeny around the world when in reality, having this diversity of opinions and cultures and thoughts is good to have. So, how can we make sure that we avoid that? Well, basically, making sure that you have your own AI, you build your own data sets, you program it yourself, share it all with the world, and it's something that would be good for the benefit of all.
Yeah, the AI right now is like trying to make you look smart, even though the idea is very dumb.
Yeah, I mean, it basically like I believe someone once said that how you use AI is a reflection of you. What you put in the AI will then reflect back at you, and it would basically create a hallucination bubble that could lead to bad decisions, bad investments, bad relationships. So that's the thing that I've always said. AI is great for people who understand or have a background in what they're asking, but it's not a good tool if you have no idea what the topic is, and then the AI basically gives you an answer. You have no idea if it's right or wrong.
Yeah, somehow the AI is like evaluating your prompt, so it gives you the kind of level. So if you're an A level, they give you the A level answer, the B level, and C level, and so on.
Yep,
What I'm
absolutely.
worried is about if it implemented in the business side. So if you're a businessman and then you have this dumb idea, and then the AI encourage you to do or to pursue this dumb idea, it's gonna be
Yeah.
busted.
And that's why you should always have a small language model that is programmed with the corporate data that is not polluted by any other LLM or language model out there. It's your data, it's your security, and it's not polluted. And it would basically reduce hallucinations and give a much better answer towards that particular question.
So let's get the most interesting discussion from this episode: Gen Z in the AI era. Reddit CEO Steve Hoffman recently noted that he is leaning heavily into hiring graduates who are AI native. He argues that younger workers don't have to unlearn old workflows. They treat AI as a standard limb. But this creates a massive barrier for those who don't know how to stand out. I want to comment about the AI native first because although I'm not an AI native, you too, Fish, we are a
Mhm.
Gen X. We're not a native of the
X4.
AI and also digital. but we get through this. Yeah. So Gen Z AI native, no, I think they need to. I think the whole world need to revise the AI native things into the AI literated, because AI native is not always good, but AI literated is the one who can use the AI that can survive or maybe can be more productive in this kind of AI era.
Yeah, I'm not exactly convinced of what Steve Hoffman has to say. I mean, like, yes, hiring graduates who are AI native is good, but as you say, like, even though we're Gen X, we're digital native, we're AI native, we're technology native because we always follow the progression. I know a lot of Gen Z who has no idea how to use AI or how to use a laptop because they've been using mobile phones all their lives. Um, and I think that his argument of younger workers don't have to unlearn the old workflows. Well, guess what? The old workflows are the ones that's working, that brings revenue, that can be profitable, that's most efficient. If they can create a new workflow based on the old one, that's even better. Instead of building one from scratch, when it'll basically just take you back to the original old workflow that you're trying to replace in the first place without learning anything. So yeah, I got a beef on that one. So Gen Z has a lot to offer, but unfortunately, the top management, the ones who decide that AI is going to be a thing in the near future, without checking if their work processes are effective in AI or not. I mean, that's going to be the challenge. There was an MIT study that found a majority of companies did not get a good return on investment on their AI investments. So I do not understand why so many companies are betting on AI when it hasn't really proven to be that effective. And there's been a lot of issues, like with AWS and others who had their services knocked out because they entrusted an AI to fix things when it didn't. You still need humans in the workflow. So yeah, I mean, like right now it's challenging times, but there are ways for Gen Z, the millennials, Gen X to work in this new AI era. But it also depends on the companies at large now as well.
Yeah, but first they have to break through the first barrier, which is the job applications. Not only the Gen Z, including the millennials and also the Gen X. We are on this together. So from our previous discussion, there's a little bit challenge for the job application, for the job applicants to use AI and produce the resumes, but the corporate is gatekeeping the application by using AI. So they rejected the AI applications generated.
Yeah, I mean it's ironic. Businesses want AI ready people. They insist their employees use AI, yet they don't. They expect job seekers not to use AI when they use AI to filter them out. That's kind of ironic, and I think that's where the humanity part. So maybe the differentiation is the humanity aspect of it. Instead of using all AI to do your cover letter or your CV, I mean, like you can use it as a starter to brainstorm, but then you have to, based on your research of the company, based on your own character, on your profile, on your experience, you can then rewrite your CV so that it answers the requests from the job description, but then it also showcases your character, your point of view, your thought process on how you can help that company succeed if they hire you. It's the humanity part that's going to be the differentiation in terms of the other candidates.
Yes, and also the Gen Z and also all of those generations need to more active in the LinkedIn. But first, they need to prove themselves that they are AI native. So they can start from maybe building some small apps to solve some problems that might facing, or maybe they can use the vibe coding to build an app that can be useful for their future work. Put it on LinkedIn, there's experience, make the attention, get the attention, so the employers can see their value of these AI native things. They have their proof.
No matter what the occupation list is, be it human resources, accounting, sales, having a portfolio will showcase your work better than anything else. Show how your thought process and your successes would also be key as well. But of course, you have to get through the ATS, the automatic tracking system of the HR. So being more human in your application will be key.
So I'm saying instead of just sending the hundreds of application, you also need to be recognized in this working environment. So put up some stories on the LinkedIn and then get noticed and then let them call you.
Yep, absolutely. It's a tough market out there with so many people being laid off. So yeah, it's really competitive now. So
Yeah, I
and
mean, don't use just one method. Use two, three, four, as crazy as possible in order to get noticed.
And there's also other opportunities out there, be it entrepreneurship, be it starting your own agency, your own business. It doesn't have to be big, it could be small, but it could be something that you never knew that you can do. So always keep your eyes open and don't be too focused on like one particular industry, one particular company, because it's tough out there. There's been all these layoffs has caused a lot of people to be looking around in the job market. So look for other alternatives also.
Yes, and also learn something new because this is a whole new world, not like Aladdin.
Indeed.
So this is because this is a whole new world. You need to learn something new. If you only knew about marketing, only writing social media, only doing editing for the photos or the videos or the images or the graphics, you need to learn how to solve the problem by using the AI. The AI means not only you prompted to the AI, but also you build some apps that can solve your working problem. There's not really something that people ready for that because who am I? They're still asking who am I? Why I'm that writing the codes, not the builders or the coders, because you have to solve your own problem in the working environment.
Indeed, and this is what's happening because of AI. AI is basically compacting a lot of roles. So in the old days, that there used to be like if you're talking about technology, you had a front end developer for like the user interface and the user experience. You have a back end developer for the actual working programs in the back end. You had a designer. All of that is now compacted to one person who can do all of that. And it's the same thing. Like if you only did marketing, well, maybe you have to do corporate communications and government relations at the same time, because again, all the roles could potentially be compacted because the companies are demanding it. So being able to offer more apart from your regular background would be a benefit for employers to hire you, because not only you can do like copywriting, but you can also do graphic design, but you can also do other things. And the good thing is the AI is out there to help you build that. You could either learn with the help of AI, you ask the questions and it'll answer, and you learn from that. You just don't let it copy paste it that as your answer. And you can also create programs with low code solutions. You just type it in. What kind of program do you want? Like a simple dashboard for your site visits, for your sales, for your uh, sales targets that you could create yourself. Something very simple, not exactly like the most secure thing in the world, but it just showcases your thought process on how you want to do that particular job, do your sales, do your marketing, do your accounting, and whatnot, and make it simple for other people to copy. Having that ability to vibe code using uh, low code, no code platforms, which is out there like Lovable and others, would also be a good benefit for you personally as well. Because like if you do leave that corporate job, that company job, and you start your own, well, you have the skills for it and the experience.
I know it's scary for most people, yeah, because they're entering something new. Something new is always scary. But if you don't start it, you will be left behind. And if you don't start it, you will don't know how to do it.
Yes, that's true. In this new AI era, you have to be very, very agile and ready to accept whatever new challenges that come up. I'm like you and me, Kadri, like we have been through the telex revolution, the fax revolution, the email revolution, the mobile phone revolution, the internet revolution. I mean, it just gets higher and higher, but we always have to adapt to it. We may not be programmers, we may not be developers or coders, whatever you want to call it, but we do know enough on how to on how to create something in case we have to. And we also know enough to know that if somebody's trying to pull wool over our eyes or try to scam us, we would know, you know what, that's not right. That is wrong. So learning more and knowing more by yourself and not having to consult AI all the time is vital. Because like when you're suddenly in a board meeting or in a manager's meeting and you cannot check your AI companion to help you, you need to be on your toes and ready. So yeah, you have to still keep on learning.
Yes. And for closing our episode today, so we need to stay balanced between using the AI to help us and also rely on our brain in order to judge whether the AI is just pleasing you or the AI give you the right answer. So we'll see you next week and stay human.
Okay, tally ho.